in-depth, investigative. This is KXAN News Today.
This is Tuesday, and this is Election Day. Tens of millions of Americans all over the country are getting ready to vote if they haven't done so already in early voting. Good morning. I'm Sally Hernandez.
And I'm Tom Miller. If you're one of the hundreds of thousands of registered voters in Central Texas who still hasn't voted, we have all the information you might need. Polls open at 7 this morning. They close at 7 tonight. If you're in line by 7 p.m., you want to stay in line. You're still allowed to vote. Travis County voters can vote at any of the county's 176 polling locations. And in Texas, you'll need to bring one of 7 approved forms of photo ID with you to vote. That includes a Texas driver's license or a U.S. passport. We got the full list for you online.
And you are allowed printed or written notes inside of polling locations, but you can't take your cell phone, your tablet, your laptop out, anything that could record something. Finally, mail ballots must be postmarked by today. The clerk's office needs to get them by 5 o'clock tomorrow evening, I should say, unless you have a military or overseas exemption. In Travis County, you can also hand deliver your mail ballot to 5501 Airport Boulevard today with a valid voter ID. You can only hand deliver your own carrier envelope.
And KXAN's Grace Reader has more on some of those frequently asked questions we've received from viewers.
Many Central Texans have already crossed voting off their to-do list this November. More than half of registered voters in Travis County, 52%, have cast their ballots. More than 58% have already voted in Williamson County and 55% in Hayes, according to our turnout tracker.
So many Texans vote early that the long lines that we associate with our polling place on Election Day are actually going to be longer at the early voting places. So again, by waiting a little bit, finding enough information, and then picking the right time, it can really make for a seamless and hassle-free election day.
For those of you who haven't voted yet, we've made it easy with an online voter guide for you over at KXAN.com.
Again, it's where you can find what's on your ballot, what you need to bring, what you're not allowed to bring, everything in one location to make it really easy for you.
The most frequently asked questions we got during early voting included, what are people allowed to do outside of polling places? People and candidates are allowed to stand with signs, talk to you about what's on the ballot, and try to hand you reading materials if they're standing at least 100 feet from a polling location. It's called electioneering. But we also had questions about who to call if you think you're experiencing voter intimidation or other election issues.
You can call 866-OUR-VOTE, which is that's nationwide, and that is the nonpartisan election protection hotline. I like to joke that there are lawyers on the other end who will yell at people for you. But actually, really, it's just people who really know what they're talking about who can answer those kinds of questions.
Grace Reader, KXAN News.
Travis County officials are expecting between 100 and 200,000 voters to cast their ballots today. If you experience something on Election Day that you think we should know about, you can scan your phone over this QR code to go to our Report It section, or you can email us at reportit@kxan.com.
First warning weather with meteorologist Kristen Curry.
Good morning. Let's start with a look at radar here as we continue to watch the last of some of these spotty showers along the main line clear our eastern counties, but there's a little bit more back building out west. Some of these spottier showers continue for Mason, Llano, and San Saba County, not nearly as intense as what we had last night in and around the Austin metro area. I've got some rainfall totals to show you later, and they are very impressive for some. Live look outside from our Lorenz and Lorenz 360 camera. You can see the contrast here in our sky. We still have quite a bit of cloud cover out there. Temperatures in the 50s and 60s this morning, not the 70s I was showing you yesterday. That temperature difference significant as all of us are waking up to temperatures down about 10 to 15 degrees. Coming up in your first morning forecast, I've got your Election Day forecast. Temperatures get real chilly tonight into tomorrow morning, and there's another storm on the way. How much more rain we could see here in Central Texas coming up. Let me show you this.
This house has been in his family since he was a baby, and they've had 2 houses down right the same spot burned down before.
So scary. Imagine seeing that glow outside your window. The Texas A&M Forest Service says that Hudson fire near Bastrop, it's now 50% contained. Families are now allowed to go back into their homes after yesterday's evacuations. Charred pine trees burned down gates at property entrances. Some parts of the ground still on fire late yesterday. Officials estimate the fire at close to 400 acres. Still, it's big. And authorities say it started at a barn or even a shed. At this time, though, great news, there are no injuries reported.
Good news. Okay, Kristen, thank you for that. You know, let's get some insight on this fire because most of Bastrop County is within a wildland urban interface, and that's where a city meets an undeveloped area, which puts that at a greater risk for damaging wildfires. More than 85% of the county's population live within that zone. Bastrop updated its hazard mitigation plan about 2 years ago, and within the guide is a section dedicated to identifying which areas pose a threat to people and to their property.
Austin first responders are going to have a new space to work in together. City moving forward with a new combined headquarters for the Austin Police, Fire, and EMS departments. The Austin Public Safety Commission discussing this plan yesterday. It's after City Council approved the purchase of some existing office buildings last week. The current headquarters for each agency are in different parts of the city and they're deteriorating. City says they also have limited public access. Their new home sits at the corner of Mopac and Barton Skyway. This is one of the overhead shots of that. It'll be giving staff some more space and better working conditions.
It also creates an opportunity for really great collaboration amongst the public safety departments on a daily basis, and then also in those emergency types of situations.
The city bought those buildings for close to $108 million. It's going to be spending millions more for design and renovation. That new facility is expected to be functional after a closing process of about 6 months and renovations. Right now, there is no set date for it to be fully open.
Good morning. It is November the 5th, Tuesday, Election Day, as we take a live look outside the city skyline. This time tomorrow, you may be waking up to many of the candidates who are now either winning or those who maybe did not win the campaign that they were running for, including Austin Mayor. We should find that out soon when it comes to tomorrow. Developing news, though, from overnight. Major news. That Boeing strike that we've talked about so much is now over after machinists approved the new contract, and they did that just before 11 o'clock last night.
Yeah, this really dragged out. The International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers say 59% of members approved this deal. Under the new contract, workers are going to benefit from a 38% pay raise over 4 years. There's also a $12,000 signing bonus and higher employer contributions to retirement plans. However, the deal does not restore a pension that Boeing froze in 2014. It was a key demand of some employees.
I feel strongly, and I agree with them, we just couldn't get the pension out of this company. And, you know, we'll continue working on that issue, retirement security, for the rest of our lives.
President Joe Biden released a statement congratulating the union and Boeing for coming to an agreement.
Good morning and welcome back, everyone. While retail stores across the world are already selling deals on advent calendars and the best gifts for your loved ones for Christmas, the Rockefeller Center is also getting ready for Christmas.
Yeah, they're getting the tree ready, and this year's host is Kelly Clarkson. Take a look.
I'm especially excited, though, because for the second year in a row, I'm actually going to host Christmas in Rockefeller Center again. I'm very excited. I'm going to dress warm again. It's a live 2-hour special December 4th at 8 p.m. Eastern on NBC and Peacock, filled with the best music, star-studded surprises, and, of course, the lighting of the world-famous Christmas tree that is so special.
Christmas in Rockefeller Center is Wednesday, December 4th, here on KXAN, starting at 7.
Okay, so about a month from now.
A month from now,
yeah.
yeah.
That's appropriate.
She has a couple Christmas albums, too, so
she
is a good pick.
I think so, too.
You probably need to have a Christmas album if you're going to be performing
It's a must.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes sense, yeah. And usually the Today Show crew is out there too. So, or the holidays coming up quick. There's no doubt about it. Let me show you what's going on with your forecast this morning, though. As we start November, we're looking at much more rain than we saw between September and October combined. We really did well yesterday. We're not quite done yet. There's still a little bit more rain out in the western hill country there. It's very light, though, Mason, Llano, and San Saba. And then still watching some of these showers clear Fayette County. We've got a couple more showers sneaking up from the south, so San Marcos and even for areas out towards Lockhart. I would maybe keep that rain gear on standby, but most of what we see this morning is light. The heavy rain moved in yesterday. Look at some of these rainfall totals. Over an inch out there in eastern Gillespie County, where we're looking at some pretty severe drought conditions. Blanco County, Hayes County, they came up on top with about 2 to 4 inches out there with some of those strong to even severe storms. Had a pair of severe thunderstorm warnings go up for Blanco. Austin Metro, anywhere from 1 inch to 2 inches. Camp Mabry saw 1.25 inches. Even our eastern counties saw over 1 inch. So we really are happy with how much rain we got in the bucket yesterday. And there's another storm on the way. That's the good news for those who maybe missed out on some of those heavier rain totals. 61 degrees as we start the day. As we get into your election day forecast, you can anticipate those temperatures to be in the 60s with some hit and miss light rain for the first part of the day, but it's only 10 to 20%, and it's not going to be a washout. Dry skies settle in pretty quickly here, getting into the later part of this morning. Afternoon, evening hours completely clear, and temperatures overall cooler today as we look to top out in those low to mid 70s. So some spotty rain left over this morning. Clouds clearing through the afternoon, mainly sunny as we get into the late day, evening hours, but we stick with these mainly clear skies as we get into tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, chilly. So here is your warning. You want to make sure you've got that sweater with you as we're talking 40s out in the hill country Wednesday morning, 40s and 50s along and east of I-35. So humidity comes down with that drier air behind yesterday's cold front. Makes a quick comeback though Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday as we see that moisture pool ahead of our next cold front. Here's how it could potentially look on radar. Scattered to widespread showers and storms on Thursday, even into Friday. But behind that front brings drier weather overall for the weekend. Saturday and Sunday not looking at very much in the way of a rain chance. So it would mainly be Thursday and Friday that we have the potential to pick up an additional 3/4 of an inch to pockets of 2 inches of rain. That's still to come. So in addition to everything we saw yesterday. 7-day forecast, 74 today. With that very low 20% chance of rain this morning. Dry skies tomorrow, but again, a chilly start. Significant rain chances Thursday. Could even see a few isolated strong to severe storms to low severe risk, but we're watching it closely. And then 40% Friday, a couple spot showers Saturday morning. Overall, we're talking 70s for the next 6 to 7 days. Sally?
Hey, Kristen, thank you so much for that. To your news this morning, people in an apartment complex in Round Rock are concerned about their safety after a Friday night shooting. It left bullet holes in the walls of their building. One person died. The Texas Department of Public Safety says this was an officer-involved shooting. There's no specification, though, who died or what led up to it. We do know that 3 different enforcements showed up to that incident, including Round Rock Police, the U.S. Marshals, and DPS. Matthew Lee is a resident at that building and says the incident might stick with him for a while.
Last night and the night before, I didn't sleep well, just tossing and turning, concerned about everybody here that, I'd like to get more information to find out.
Lee says that he is thankful that neither his family nor his neighbors were injured in that shooting. Austin police arresting a man they say is connected to a deadly shooting outside a sports bar that happened early in the morning after Halloween.
Yeah, 20-year-old Clayton Tyteague is facing a charge of first-degree murder. That will happen when he's discharged from the hospital. Early Friday, Austin police officers responded to Michelobos Sports Bar on East Breaker Lane. Investigators say the suspect shot and killed 30-year-old Tyler Cochran during an altercation. Security guard for the bar then shot the suspect. APD Chief Lisa Davis says the area where the shooting took place is a hotspot for crime with an increased number of calls.
In 2023, there were 34 calls for service at this location. And then so that's for the year in 2023, 34 calls. And already this year, we've had 61 calls for service in 24. And so both the frequency and the intensities of these calls has increased, and as a result, most likely as a direct result of the presence of several nightclubs in this area, sports bars, and after-hour establishments.
The chief says APD is developing a plan to get to the bottom of the rise of calls in the area.
We continue our coverage when it comes to Election Day, which is today. Along with the KXAN crew, we are following those local races, and NBC is tracking all things national for you. Savannah and Hoda for a preview of today's election coverage. Good morning.
Good morning. Coming up on today, the polls are opening. Election Day is here after one of the longest and closest presidential races in history.
We'll have everything you need to know if you're heading out to cast your ballot, including the final messages from the candidates overnight.
Our team is spread out across the country to bring you the very latest. Plus, we're going to break down the fierce battle for control of Congress. It all starts in just a bit, right here on Today.
Thank you so much. There will be live coverage, comprehensive coverage of the race as polls open across the country.
Ahead of Election Day, the Texas Supreme Court rejected a lawsuit from the Travis County Republican Party. This is over claims of a lack of Republican poll workers at polling locations. The party suing the Travis County clerk claims close to 40% of voting sites will not have Republicans working the polls. Texas Elections Code requires each polling location presiding judge and an alternate judge and poll workers from different political parties all be present.
Accountable thing to do is to have a Republican and a Democrat at the polls. And no, you're not going to know who they are. They're not going to wear a red hat or a blue hat. But again, those of us paying attention, we need to know what to tell our voters.
Travis County Clerk Diana Limon Mercado sent the following statement, reading in part, quote, "I'm incredibly proud of our bipartisan election team for their ongoing commitment to ensuring an open and accessible election for every eligible voter in Travis County." State's High Court said the county may have violated the law, but the party filed its lawsuit too late.
There is another dispute that's underway, and on Friday, this was when the state of Texas told federal officials to stay out of its election process. And it's in response to the Department of Justice announcing that it planned to send poll monitors to 8 Texas counties. They're going to do that today, and one includes Hays County. Last night, the Attorney General Ken Paxton office announced that they will sue over this effort. And the DOJ originally sent monitors to prevent discrimination against minorities. The Justice Department continued to send monitors to states of its choosing until 2013, and that's when the Supreme Court got involved, ruled state governments had the right to say, no, they don't want this. But few did until recently.
As a matter of practice, people have generally been fairly receptive to that because most election officials are kind of proud of their work and want to show off that they're doing it well. But as things have gotten more politically charged in our country about elections, the last couple of elections, a lot of states are pushing back on that.
Federal monitors visiting counties in Texas as recently as 2022. This year, Texas, Florida, and Missouri told the DOJ to stay away.
This is KXAN Sports, brought to you by Thomas J. Henry.
Back home for the Longhorns, first morning start for Texas. 4-4 Florida Gators come to town. Texas hoping to have a couple of key players back. Receiver Isaiah Bond, safety Andrew Makuba, both practiced on Monday after missing the Vanderbilt game. Vanderbilt game was another struggle offensively. They got the 3 touchdowns in the second quarter to get that separation, but still this offense has been kind of missing something the last few weeks, and, well, Sark would like to find it.
Our mojo offensively is one thing I want to get back. You know, our whether you want to call it our sense of urgency, our intent, the way we go about our business. You know, we've got a talented group of guys that are very competitive. They're tough. They work really hard. They want to play well. Sometimes you can over-try, if that makes sense. And to me, that gets back into your mojo. That gets back into our swagger a little bit. And I want to try to recreate that with the guys because I know what we're capable of, and if we can get that clicking to go along with what we're doing defensively and special teams wise, that would be a huge bonus.
In my opinion, we just got to stop starting slow, and that's nobody's fault per se. Just as an offense, it takes all 11. Picking up the blitzes that these defenses send, allowing Quinn to feel protected. I think we just got to get back to what we did at the start of the season.
And don't forget Texas Game Day, Saturday morning, 10 o'clock, live 1 hour before kick, and you can watch it over on KBVO. Back to you.
Coming up, the final pitch from the presidential candidates as their campaigns enter the final hours. If you're listening on the KXAN Today podcast, thanks for being with us. Hope you'll join us on air for that. You can always find our stories on our website, KXAN.com.